advertise even if it's really.
Be a flag if we were playing football. Good evening. I now call this Village of Hebron Special Council meeting to order at 5:30 p.m. on Wednesday, November 19th, 2025. Roll call, please.
Mr. Wolf,
Here.
Mr. Giovanni,
Here.
Mr. Carpenter,
Here.
Mr. Nauer.
Yes.
Mrs. Chapman. Yes. Mrs. Quirk.
Yes. Thank you. We have quorum. Thank you visitors for attending this evening. If you've not already done so, please sign in and get a copy of the agenda. There will be an opportunity to speak in the agenda labeled visitor comments. The special meeting is regarding the discussion of the 2026 Village of Hebron Employee Healthcare Insurance. Can I ask the CFO to come up and discuss that?
Right, thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank you for being able to get in here at 5:30 to have this special meeting. I know it was called on short notice, but unfortunately, when we're dealing with health care renewal, they don't operate on a lengthy time schedule. They kind of have put you in a little bit of a time crunch. So I'm trying to get into this and keeping the time in mind. The village had Anthem over this last year. And their renewal quote came in at a 29.7%.
Oh,
Oops.
she doesn't.
Because that insurance,
You broke it.
it broke.
Does it still work? I just want to see if it still works.
Well, in my mind, it's broke right on. So.
Wow.
I tell you what, I can talk loud.
Mom voice.
Yes, I will.
Right.
All right.
Oh, my goodness.
So as I was saying, Anthem came in at a renewal of 29.7. Clearly, it was a huge increase. We had a huge increase last year. But we were able to find actually two plans for the employees to choose from. One with a higher deductible, one with a lower deductible. And then the employees who chose the lower deductible plan pays 7% toward that health care. So when it came back at a 29.7% increase, obviously was to quote it out. Last year, unfortunately, we got no other companies to quote because we were just such a high risk. But this year, I was holding my breath. I wasn't sure, but we did get companies to quote. And if you look at, I put up the market summary of the companies, the main companies that did quote on your second sheet there. The next sheet, the medical insurance financial summary, it kind of gives you the yearly quote based off of our census information, which is the employees and their spouse and their children on the plan. And you can see it right out, it jumped at me too, was the low cost for Medical Mutual. They're coming in at a 20.4% less than what we're currently paying this year. So obviously we looked at the plan and it is a very good plan. They actually quoted the two plans that were similar to the ones that we currently have. I had some questions. Why are you so much lower? Medical Mutual does have a very large network. They have obviously they're a mainstream insurance company. The question was, are you trying to buy our business? We've been down that road before where we've had somebody give us a quote that was so incredibly low, we couldn't say no. And then it ended up being an issue. So I didn't want to look at something that maybe that's what they were trying to do. Their answer was, of course, no. They feel a lot of these insurance companies are now using AI and putting in your census information, your risk information, and they're getting a lot better, accurate information on what the risk truly is. The medical mutual number was checked 3 times, and they said they would never release a number that they weren't comfortable with. That's where they feel we're at. And at the end of the day, even if they are trying to buy our business a little bit next year, if they would give us an increase, we're still far and above ahead versus, you know, and some of the other companies were still less than what Anthem was. So I will ask you to, if you look at the next page where it does compare the current Anthem plan to their renewal, and then you can see at the bottom the 29.7. But on the next page is the medical mutual quote. And you can see the areas that are marked in green are actually an improvement to the plans that we currently have. The things that are faintly colored in yellow, those are just very close or a little bit different, but still not bad. So when looking at these, I thought, well, we'll just go ahead and keep the choice for the employees. What I found very interesting was the plan that has the higher deductible, if you look, is actually more than the plan with the lower deductible. So again, ask the question, why is this? And Medical Mutual said with the way they are structuring their quote system, they feel that is a better cost for them with the lower deductible. Now, I'm not in the insurance business, so I really don't understand all of it. I've learned a lot over the years trying to do this. So clearly, it seems the best route would be to offer the one plan. We did have a few other companies that I did not list on here that come in at some really good quotes, still higher than, still like a 12, 13, 14% increase. But some of those plans, the reason I didn't include them is they're very different. They have a lot of different little options and little nuances to them that probably would be a little difficult for the employees to transition to. It would take a lot of training and a lot of learning to kind of get a hold of those. So I didn't really include those because I felt at this point, we really weren't there to be needing to look at, especially with a quote like we have for Medical Mutual. Now, some interesting news today. Anytime that we quote, we always go back to the original company we're working with to give them that final look. So I did ask them to take another look, and they did come back and lowered their renewal rate from the 29.7 to 15%. So even if we didn't have Medical Mutual, it would have been a lot better than the 29.7. And though I'm grateful that they're willing to come back at a lower renewal rate, it still isn't enough to not to recommend Medical Mutual. So that's what we're kind of looking at here. So it would be my recommendation for the healthcare portion that we move to Medical Mutual for 2026, and there would be no cost share to the employees. It would be 100% paid, and there would be the one plan. It benefits both groups of employees. It benefits the ones that are at the higher deductible, because now, even though they're still paying 0%, they'll be going to a much better deductible plan. But the employees that are on the better deductible plan, it will benefit them because they will not have to pay the 7%. And there is just a very few employees. I think we're looking at probably six or seven employees that pay for this better plan. So I think that it does benefit both groups. Every year when I start this process, it is a it is a hard line to walk. I try to look at what's best for the employees, but I also try to keep in mind the financial impacts to the village. The village has always been very gracious to offer 100% paid benefits to their employees, and I'm sure the employees appreciate that. So it is great that the numbers are coming in, and it is coming in a lot less. So that's where we're at with the medical part. So before I would move on to anything else, I just want to hear if you have any questions or comments or.
Is there a significant change between a single and a family?
Meaning the cost a month.
Yes.
If you look on the sheet that I have where I have it marked in red,
Okay, on the green.
if you look down in the bottom, that gives you the monthly cost for a single. Then the next one is the employee and spouse only. Then employee and children, which we have none of that. We just have family. And then the last is a family. And then if you look over to the left column, it gives a breakdown currently of where we're at with our employees. So it's $674 for a single, $1,482.80 for employee and spouse, and then $2,022 for a family. That's per month. Yes.
I have two questions, then. When is the contract needed to be renewed? What type of suspense date are we looking at?
Well, the renewal is for a 1/1 of 2026. Being a new company, that's why we did want to get this meeting taken care of tonight. See what your thoughts are and see where you want to go with it. Because we've scheduled a meeting with our insurance broker for them to kind of come out to assist me in explaining all this to the employees on the 1st of December. There's a week window, which is a little shorter than what we typically do for the open enrollment. But they need that so that they can submit this on the 8th of December, so that we can at least hope to get the cards to the employees. If the cards don't come, at least we could get the electronic cards to the employees by the beginning of the year.
And I think you just answered my second. Was the employee surveyed? Was there any feedback on this already at this point? But you're gonna do that 1 December?
Yeah, December 1st. Would not had an opportunity to discuss that with them prior to meeting with you.
I had one question. Have we ever dealt with medical mutual before? Are they good to work with, not, or is it totally new to us?
It is, as far as my time here, it is totally new. I know that one time the village had United Healthcare and then it went to Anthem, and it has been for Anthem for quite some time. I did ask that question with the broker, what's their experience like with them? They do have a lot of other communities and other private entities that are with Medical Mutual. The one comment was they do have a very large network. And they didn't really have, and I do trust there. I believe that they would have told me if there were any issues. Yeah. Because I was just because they came in at such a low cost, I really didn't just want to go, okay, well, we're done here. This is what we're going to go with. I really wanted to look at the whole picture. Are there any other questions on the healthcare portion of it, the medical part? We kind of skip on past, I did include, the other quotes from Aetna and Cigna and United Healthcare as well, where you could kind of take a look at it with their renewal rates and how it's broke down at the bottom. So, moving on to dental, that is separate. All of these are separate from the healthcare. So Delta Dental is our current carrier. They are passing on an increase of 2.9%. However, it's still a recommendation to go with Delta Dental because there really is no other good dental carrier out there. They're it in the business. Vision, we have VSP currently, and they are not passing on an increase, and they have guaranteed a locked-in rate for the next 2 years. So that was a plus. Currently, the village has the standard company for life insurance. However, we did quote this out to many other different companies, and a company by the name of Unum come in at a 27% less yearly cost. However, the plan, it's still the same as the standard. They still have the same 30,000. They're a very good company. They have great customer service. This is one that I hope we never have to find out if they have good customer service. But has very good recommendation. And so it would be my recommendation that we move from the standard to Unum. It does offer an employee assistance program, which we still currently have with the standard, but this one has just some better offerings for the employees. And then I did include the renewal information for Delta Vision. And then the one page shows the different companies that quoted out the life insurance and the fact that Unum here at the end was the one that we're recommending. So added, we add the healthcare, the dental, the vision, and the life all together. And adding that together this year with the reduction in this life insurance and the health care, it is, a good savings to the village going into. And I feel that the plans are very, very good, the healthcare plan. So that would be the recommendation, and the recommendation is on the last page, is to move to medical mutual for 2026, staying with Delta Dental and VSP, and then moving to Unum for this life insurance. Any questions?
What is Oswald?
Oswald is our broker,
The
who I work
broker.
with, who helps me, helps kind of guide me through the process of getting all the information to go out to quote. And they're really great to work with. They've been a really good help. They're willing to come out on the first and answer questions and go over things with you.
Your employees will have access for that as well.
They'll all be here. I encourage them all to come on that day. We will tape it for any employee that may not be able to tape it. But I do feel it's good if they're here in person, because that way they can ask questions if they do have any. Oswald will also, once we're finalized on this, they'll create a complete employee healthcare guide. They provided me one last year that I could hand out to employees and all new hires. So.
So not to be dramatic, but if I'm reading the numbers right, what we thought was going to happen versus what you're recommending is $250,000 less. Yeah. I'd say that's an atta girl.
That is true.
Bless you.
It's always a stressful time for me during this time. It's, just a lot of worry, just hoping that we can, like I said, the village has always been very gracious to the employees. I feel the employees are grateful for the 100% healthcare. And so being able to find a plan that is actually saving the village money, but also providing, I feel, very good benefits. I think it's good.
That's a lot of money that would have to somehow be paid for. One of the premiums was $2,200 or something like that, and you said it's per month.
Yes, that is what,
That would be,
but that's,
enormous amount of money.
well, that's the renewal with Medical Mutual. What we're paying right now for a family is $27.74 a month.
And if that's per month.
Yeah,
That's expensive.
currently we're paying $557,000
Yeah,
a year for healthcare.
$500,000, over $500,000.
Yes. Now, I will say, as far as budgeting, when I did budget in the current budget for a 25% increase. So the 29.7 was that. So I did go in, I just because I hadn't had these numbers yet, I didn't know what was gonna happen. I wasn't sure if anybody would even quote us. So I went in and I added the increase into everybody's budget in the healthcare for the 29.7. And we were still able, those numbers that we set down, those numbers still came out fine. So, you know, that, at least at the end of the day, if all else failed, we had that covered. You know, of course, I think we would have probably been discussing some other options at that point of what other ways that maybe we could get that number down. Luckily, Anthem did come back at 15%, so we I'm very pleased that we were able to get that number in, but now it is going to be an area that is a little bit of relief on the budget.
So are we looking at an adoption of this evening? Yeah, so move.
That's why we need a special meeting. We wouldn't be
Yes.
able to be just discussing it in the combined committee, so you're looking for a motion to adopt your recommendation?
Yes, unfortunately, I couldn't just bring this to committee because you wouldn't have been able to vote on it, so that's why we asked. So yes, I would, if this is something that you would approve or want to approve, that I would ask for a motion to adopt the recommendation.
Then I would make that motion. So, yeah.
So I have a motion from Councilmember Carpenter and bless you, and a second from Councilmember Porter. Any further discussion or questions?
I'm amazed that we've done that well. Made a negotiation with them. Certainly the vanguard.
Well, just like if it was going in the wrong direction, it wouldn't be all your fault, but I do know that we have to acknowledge that, right? We wouldn't be, you know, taking you outside and.
That's a relief.
Yes, but I think your tenacity and going back, and I know that you spent a lot of time reviewing the plans, and in the long run, that will make a big difference for the employees. I'm so sorry, go ahead.
It's okay. I have one additional question now that the motions are made. You indicated that you were somewhat surprised that they would even give a quote. Or
Mhm.
why would that be? Have we had excessive claims that would cause that, or?
Well, last year when we went to quote for 2025, the renewal rate was somewhere around, I think, 27 last year. So obviously, same thing, let's see what other companies, we could not get one other company. They said we were too much of a high risk. We had too many. The population of our employees were healthy enough.
Okay.
Probably medicines, I'm not sure, I don't know, I can't see
What the high
that.
risk is?
And no, nor would I want to see that, so I don't really know, but I do know that it was because we were too high risk. So my question is, what changed? Because as far as I know, doing the census information, I didn't feel a lot changed. I actually assumed it was going to be high, that's why we budgeted so high. But according to what I was told, the way insurance companies now are using AI, they're able to hone in that risk, and they didn't feel we were as big of a risk. So I'm going to assume something has changed, that
Is it new younger employees? We've added a lot.
it could be, I'm not sure. Or something, a risk has dropped off that I'm unaware of, but something clearly changed, because I mean, it is dramatic. And I understand AI and all of their new ways of doing things, but still, it is a dramatic change. So I would assume that, which is good, that our risk is less.
So we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion or questions? Roll call, please.
Mr. Giovanelli,
Abstain.
Mrs. Porter,
Yes.
Chapman,
Yes,
Mr. Wolf,
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter,
Yes.
Mr. Nauer.
Yes.
Thank you, council. It passes 5-0, one abstention. And then now open to visitor comments on the topic. We have no visitors. And so I'm now looking for a motion to adjourn at 5:53.
I'll second.
I have a motion from Council President Wolf, a second from Council Member Chapman. Roll call, please.
Mr. Wolf,
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter,
Yes.
Mr. Nauer,
Yes.
Chapman,
Yes.
Mrs. Porter,
Yes.
Mr. Giovanelli.
Yes.
And I didn't get a chance while on record. I do want to thank you, and I'm sure the employees will thank you as well.
Thank you.